What's up, guys? Today, another Karen-proof drone on the channel. This is all about the BetaFpv HX115 LR. It's another 1S, little tiny micro-sized 3-inch toothpick style long-range drone that you can put ELRS on there, or you can put other types of receivers. This one does run 5.8 on here, and it has some differences between the Happy Model Crux 3 in LR that we looked at yesterday. This one is very similar, but it comes in two different options. You can get the one with the 1S450 battery option. It's going to be a cheaper battery, but you're only going to get 3 to 5 minute flight times on that type of setup with the BT 2.0 connector. So a little bit of difference in size as well. The NLR is a little bit bigger, as you can see right here. Just going to put them close up so you can see them in focus there, and we'll put them on the scale both together and we'll weigh them with the battery and without the battery. But this one can also be set up to fly a 1S 18650 Lion pack on top of here. So all you have to do is 3D print the parts and wire it up. It's pretty simple. It's just a positive and negative connection. It's not super difficult to wire that up. There are instructions on the internet, but we're going to fly this one today. I'm going to give you my opinion on this one, the setup, and what I think about the way they've built this one up, and also the tune as always, and the durability factor for this one, and what they use for the power system. We'll talk about that as well. It's a little different than the NLR from Happy Model. So compare and contrast today, and a little bit of flying. And if you want to see what you can get for the NLR in comparison, this is a great video. I mean, they're both $130. So which one should you get? 15-minute flight time ready to go, or 5 minutes flight time? So yeah, I know what my choice is. But we're gonna go ahead and fly this one and review it today for you anyway, just because I have it, and it is fun to fly and pretty smooth. So if you want to fly close proximity, this one's gonna fly a little more accurate, but indoors or outdoors, it can also be a rocket. A lot of fun. So watch out for the Karens, guys. Here we go, out into the world of Karens. Here we go. Okay, guys, watch out for the Karens. They are close by, but we're indoors right now, so we're not worried about the Karens. This should be a Karen-free zone right here. I'm flying my drone. Leave me alone. So we're going to go ahead and start out with just stability mode indoors, and if you're a new guy, just start out on stability mode indoors. The tune on here, I have to make a comment about. It is fairly soft. If you're going to learn acro, I feel like this drone is a good acro trainer. If you want to learn how to fly acro and not really break a lot of stuff or a lot of props, it is possible to take this one outside and learn somewhere where there's kind of some tall grass. You can set up a beeper. I think the another difference between this one and the Crux 3 is that this tune is a little softer. The VTX is 350 milliwatt on here, so it's probably going to be a little stronger signal back to your goggle, meaning less breakup. I feel like the antenna on this one is a little better. It is like a right-hand circular polarized antenna, so I think that's nicer. The Crux 3 has a dipole on the back, and that one's also built into the flight controller. So that's an AIO VTX. And look how solid this VTX is out here, but see how slow that roll rate is? It's dialed back quite a bit, and it is a lot softer. I've talked about a long-range tune before. People ask me, what should the tune be like for long range? Typically, we like to have it nice and smooth and soft on the sticks. It just gives us a little better cinema quality type video when we're trying to be smooth and flying through canyons or mountain surfing. This is nice, but it feels like you're flying long range. Even in a big field like this, it just feels like you're way out there because this quad is so small. I mean, scale is relative, right? So that's kind of the way this field feels, even though I could walk and pick this quad up right here. And if you're going to fly a LiPo again, the flight time on this one's going to be limited. Freestyle flight around, say, 3 minutes, 5 minutes for a cruising flight on a brand new battery. If you have an older battery on this power system, the big difference between this one and the other one, the Crux 3, is that this one has 1102 motors, which is kind of an older type of motor than what the Crux 3 is running. The Crux 3 is running 12 series motors, 1205s. So on the 18650, they're pretty efficient, and those are 11,500 kVs.
and the 1102s are coming in at 18,000 kV. So these motors are more hopped up than the other ones. Even though they're bigger, they have a little less amp draw than these motors are pulling. So with the LiPo, it's going to give you, yeah, again, a shorter flight time. Lighter weight quad though. So it's actually fun to fly for freestyle. And in this flight, I'm going to do a little bit of freestyle for you. So we're going to check out the roll rate. Look how slow that is. That's not super fast. So this is good for beginners. And I like to give these tips out for the new guys that are getting into our hobby. What's kind of safe to start out with. This one is a great acro trainer. Look at how slow that roll rate is. And depending on your skill level, that might seem fast to you, but I'm used to a lightning fast tune on a 5-inch race quad. So this one feels kind of like a pontoon boat in comparison. But it can get going on a pretty good tilt. And it does some nice low proximity type of freestyle. And again, this one has a great VTX on here. It's a standalone VTX, 350 milliwatt versus the Crux 3's 200 milliwatt. So you're getting a little bit better VTX here, but honestly, on 200 milliwatt, you can go miles out. You can actually get miles out on 25 milliwatt. It's not comfortable, but it can be done. And right here, I'm coming around this tree right here, and I just happened to fail safe right here in this flight test, which is good. A little bit of durability test. I had a little bit of mud on the front of the quad, and all I had to do was take back off and finish that battery. So I got about 3-minute flight time out of this quad with my 1S450. It's also a little bit cold, and cold does affect the batteries as well, guys. So keep that in mind. On a warmer day, if the LiPo is a little bit warmer, keep them in your car nice and warm, and you'll have maybe another 20 seconds on that LiPo battery. 18650s, same way. Keep those warm in your car. Keep the heater on if it's winter time, right before you get out. But what a great day for flying. And again, I got to make some comments for the Ant camera. I say great day because this camera looks good. It's on both of these quads. Either one you decide to buy, it's on the HX115, and the Caddx Ant's also on the Crux 3. And now we're getting down to the bottom of this battery. Look at the battery voltage in the bottom left. You can see I'm also cruising at 35 to 38% throttle. I found that if I went up to about 60% throttle, that my 1S LiPos really sag out extremely bad. I'm just going to do one more fly over the van there, and I was going to go to the end of this road and turn around, but look at my battery voltage start to tank now, and this battery is really sagging down at the bottom end. And the one thing that bothers me about this quad is that when that battery gets low on this quad, this is what happens. Just complete blackout, and I'm on the ground. There might be a Karen around waiting for me in the bushes somewhere. All right, guys, welcome back from the flight test. The HX115 long range. First of all, it weighs 59 grams with the battery, so that's a lot lighter than yesterday's review of the Happy Model Crux 3 in LR. This is a long range 18650 type of drone that gets a 15-minute flight time, 110 grams total takeoff weight there, with the flight controller, ESCs, motors, props, everything, frame, and the receiver on board. This one has an ELRS option for long range, which this configuration, some guys were making some comments in the video yesterday. The anti-Karen drone is the coined name of this one. I'm flying my drone, leave me alone. T-shirts for this one coming soon, hopefully. This one's set up for long range. This one is more of a backyard flyer. I mean, let's just be honest here. This one is called a long range drone, but until you have an 18650 battery up there, you're not going to get 15 minutes flight time out of a 1S450. The 1S450 is like a 3 to 5 minute battery. You know, it is weighing in at 59 grams with that, but it's only a 5-minute max cruising flight time. So quite a bit more weight with that 18650 battery. I mean, in comparison, you've got an 18650 by itself weighing in at 46 grams. So that's heavier than some tiny whoops out there. And this 1S450 LiPo is weighing in at 13 grams. So, man, it's almost like 5 times heavier than the 450 here. So, but you get a much longer flight time out of the Lion, and these are easier to find too, and they're not proprietary like this BT 2.0 connector. Now, if you do get this version, the reason, why would you get this version over the Happy Model Crux 3 in LR? Well, maybe because you don't care about long range and you want to fly something small and light and fast around your backyard. If you have even a smaller size backyard, you can fly this one comfortably with a handful of batteries. And if you're going to go this route, I would recommend getting that BetaFpv 6-in-1 or really 12-in-1 charger. It can charge BT 2.0s from BetaFpv, those batteries, or it can charge your standard PH 2.0 connectors right here. So 3 on this side, 3 on this side, and you have a switch on here for changing it from standard LiPo, which is 2.4 volt, to 3.5 volt. And that is the difference between regular LiPo and an HV LiPo. So if you see HV on the battery, you can charge it as an HV at 3.5 volt, but do not charge a battery that's not an HV battery as an HV battery. You will blow up the cell. So this one happens to be an HV. It doesn't say HV on here, but it does say 4.35 volt on here. So you can see that real close right there. That's something to look out for. That means that you're going to get a little longer flight time on an HV battery versus a standard LiPo. But I take this everywhere I go. I run this in my van, on my USB port, on my dashboard, and you can also run it from an external battery bank or just plug it into the wall. These are kind of convenient if you have a 1S quad. So the big difference, elephant in the room here is the flight time for the LiPo setup versus the 18650 setup. The 18650 is a battery that you can find just about anywhere. A local vape shop sells them, and this one is going to be more proprietary and a shorter flight time. But the cool thing about both of them is that they can fly long range. It does come with an ELRS receiver on it if you want to. BetaFpv has their own version, and this one has the Nano TX module support. This receiver will also bind up to the Happy Model, the Nano Lite module that they released for ELRS. So it's cool that you can use the same module or go back and forth between these two receivers. So both are ELRS, and they both run on CRSF protocol, which is awesome. But yeah, if you want to, you can get a TPU conversion bay for an 18650 to go on this one. And it's not hard to solder that up to this quad, guys. All it is a simple positive and negative wire that goes straight to where your original battery lead goes. Positive and negative on the flight controller. And you can see there's a big fat wire that goes up right here, and that's a red wire. That's your positive going to the front of this. And then the black wire in the back, you can see right straight through this hole right here. That is the ground wire going to the back of this terminal. So instead of having this little tiny BT 2.0 connector with positive and negative, that doesn't show you which one is positive and negative. And typically in our hobby, the flat side is the positive. So the terminal on the flat side is going to be the positive wire, and the one on the rounded side up top is going to be the ground wire. Same thing on like the XT30 and the XT60 configuration. So that's kind of universal in the hobby, but it's cool that they have the option to run an 18650 on here. So if you bought this one, it's not the end of the world. You can make it a long range drone, but as it stands with this type of LiPo configuration, it's not a long range drone. It's more of a backyard cruiser. So this one has an F4 12 amp AIO flight controller on here with a built-in SPI ELRS receiver. The antenna comes out the front on this one, and I believe they had the antenna coming out the back on this one, the original one that I got. They also have the SPI tower right there. You can see this little tower that I'm pointing at right here. That is your connection to ELRS there. And they both have similar props on board. These are 3-inch props, and they are pretty standard for most of these toothpick drones. Now, this one I feel like would probably be a little more durable in a crash because it is lighter. It's way lighter.
So durability factor, this one's going to be lighter and probably more resilient to beginner crashes. But this one is going to get you out there way further, and they're like the same price. So that's the big thing. The other big thing that you need to know about both of these is that if you're looking for one that has a stronger VTX, it would be the BetaFpv version. This one has a 350 milliwatt VTX on here, and this one's not a built-in VTX. This one actually stands above it. And I put a little piece of tape here in between the VTX and this top plate, because this is really stinking close right here. Almost touching that carbon plate. And you do not want that VTX to touch this carbon plate. So whereas here, this has plenty of room in between that carbon sandwich and this bottom plate. And this bottom plate is actually plastic, so this is not going to be conductive. Carbon fiber is conductive, so you want to be super careful there that you don't make any contact, top or bottom here. I've had people build stuff in the past where they tightened down the top screws too much, and then they had some problem where the flight controller touched the bottom plate. So you get an instant puff of smoke when that happens. So yeah, that's a whole nother topic in another video, but this is a lot of fun, and I'll leave the link for both of these down below. And as far as, you know, the one that's going to fly the longest and furthest, it's going to be the Crux 3 in LR. That's the one you want to grab for around the same price if you want to fly 15 minutes. If you just want a backyard cruiser, the HX115 is fine. Either one of these are anti-Karen drones. They'll keep away the soccer moms, and they're super, 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 super quiet. Especially that 1S configuration, very quiet. But once they get up in the air and they start moving just a little bit, yeah, the guys, hopefully the Karens are going to leave you guys alone. I'm flying my drone, leave me alone, right? I'll try to get you guys those t-shirts. But make sure you make your comments on this video down below, and be sure to subscribe on the channel, and you'll be entered to win that Center Race 20 coming up from Flywood at the end of this month right here on the channel, guys. Take care and be safe, and keep it in the blue out there. Happy FPV, everybody. I will see you on the next one.